Hi Gemini, here is a general look at your solar chart for the whole of 2015, and there should be a link to another video I made for the general overview of 2015 for all of the signs. It's advisable to listen to that. All of this will be written up on my website as well, apart from the asides, the Mercury retrograde times, and so on and so forth. There's going to be 3 Mercury retrogrades, but I'm not going to go into the details of that. There's going to be 2 solar eclipses, and that's right on the cusp of Pisces and Aries in your 10th and 11th houses. And there's a little bit of a confusing, up in the air, wondering, uncertainty energy about this one, which is no biggie, but it's simply to watch out that somebody hasn't got the wrong end of the stick, or you didn't get the wrong end of the stick. And within the time period of the eclipse, within maybe the 24 hours before the eclipse, is just making sure that you do as much as you can to quell any uncertainties, or just make sure that there's clarity there. However, eclipse energy, which usually unfurls about over the next 6 months, sometimes it's a lot longer in fact, but that depends on other things in the natal chart. The eclipse energy is quite a neutral energy. It's the energy of allowing, you know, the gears to go into neutral with the clutch down, so that you can put your life into in a minor way maybe, or it can be in a major way depending on how it connects to your chart, on a new, you know, in make improvements, make changes. So for you, these improvements and changes will be regarding your worldly responsibilities, how you're packaging something, your outer image, and getting the ball rolling with things that you've waited quite a long time to get going with. But also it connects to maybe lucrative or maybe beneficial in other ways, connections within a group or within a society or a club, or just with friends, really. So it tends to be beneficial, and it's about new beginnings. And then the second solar eclipse is on September the 13th in Virgo. This puts the eclipse energy at the root of your chart, meaning it's a time of fresh starts related to property, related to a neighborhood, related to a space inside, outside, related to family, community, that kind of thing. When Uranus and Pluto are closest is until mid-April, and that means that it will tend to manifest important events which trigger another series of choices as we go from the Piscean to the Aquarian age. And for you, Uranus is in a very, very good angle to your sun sign, and is actually in its own house until 2019, which strengthens it. So it's likely you'll be, you know, not what you know, who you know. So cherry picking the very, very right people for you as much as we can. But the Uranian energy may have you veering and turning into a direction with your socializing, whether that is for work or for your personal life, which you wouldn't have thought you'd do. And then you start to realize that it really is very, very positive, and maybe one of the best things you ever did. Well, that is the sort of the maximum it can go to. As I've said before, when doing sun sign astrology, is that when I give the degrees of where the planets are going to be, if that resonates, if that connects up with close enough to the degrees in your own chart, then you're going to feel what I'm describing, or something sort of vaguely like it, the most. The further away you are from those degrees with the sun or with other planets in your natal chart, the more diluted that's going to seem to you. And in fact, it might seem like you don't really get that because it is further and further and further away from one of your planets. But mostly people do seem to get it. So anyway, back to now, and Jupiter is going to be in Leo until August the 11th. Again, another really good transit for you. Jupiter in the royal sign Leo, and this will be a cycle of developing your communications strength and ability to communicate through no matter what medium of self-expression, really a lot more creatively, or maybe learning a lot as you're going along there. You're likely to get the right connections, the right teaching, the right you're likely to be able to source the right information or the right knowledge or get the right help, you know, that you need to join up the dots. You're more likely to get that with Jupiter there in such a good angle to your sun sign. Time to seize fresh opportunities, to learn new things, to just be happier, really, because Jupiter in this area here tends to raise the spirits, tends to boost you, and it's good for developing your communication skills, as I've said, but also visiting maybe unfamiliar places or connecting in a creative way with your expressing what you want to say, really, and finding, you know, at the end of it, a new way of doing it. Excuse me, but I've just got to bang on the window because it's the starlings keep coming and grabbing all of the food from the little birds and the blackbirds in the garden. So I'm sorry about that, but it had to be done. Because, you know, that is like taking local action on maybe a global problem. And okay, so all of the natives of your sign are going to be feeling the Jupiter influence this year, but it might be more beneficial to you before the 11th of August. Right, so now then, Jupiter, oh, I should mention Venus, actually. This is the big one, actually. Venus is in quite a long transit this year. Unusual for Venus, going to be in Leo, one of the very most scintillating, sparkly places for Venus to be, between June the 6th, which is in your birthday period, and October the 9th. And so for some of that time is going to be teaming up with Jupiter as well, June the 25th to 7th of July, actually. And when that's happening, June the 25th to the 7th of July, good things can be coming your way. There could be goodies in the pipeline. But anyway, Jupiter is in Virgo, and putting the Jupiter transit then into the root of your chart, family connections, property matters, you making home improvements, maybe expanding the space, maybe redesigning the space outside as well as inside. Great for property transactions, this one. Stacking the cards in your favor, actually. And there may be more contact with others, you know, it could be more visiting going on, particularly during the time that Venus is in there as well. You going to people's places and them coming to you. And very good for keeping it in the family, feeling more kind of, you know, if there have been feuds, then just clearing the air, bringing in the harmony, bringing in the balance, you feeling more stable within, you feeling happier within. So yes, this is a nice one. A new Geminians born up to mid-June, or so from the beginning of the sign to mid-June, or with up to 24 degrees rising, are going to feel that vibration the most. And then Saturn. So Saturn moved on Christmas Eve into your opposite sign, and this can be an interesting time because this will have you redefining yourself in response to others. This is a cycle of having to work harder in one-to-one relationships, close personal relationships, but also in working type relationships. seeing how to, we have what we have, it is what it is, how do we make this work? How do, where do we go from here, sort of thing. And actually you're completing a process which began 14 years ago when you were redefining yourself and your world. Also, we can take that, we can halve that and say 7 years ago as well. Now that sense of self, that the decisions, the ramifications of those decisions are coming now to be reaped and tested and weighed in the balance, and then there will be some tweaking going on, no doubt. Which alliances are worth it or were worth it, and there will be greater effort demanded of you. Some of you will want to put a relationship on a more formal footing, get more serious about things there. But this is a cycle of having to work harder at balancing your needs and requirements with that of others, and seeing them as maybe limiting, exasperating, frustrating, clipping your wings, Gemini. But remember, the planets themselves are neutral, really. They have characters, but they don't have judgment. They don't favor, they don't have bias. So it's actually us that have judgment. It's actually us that get stuck in a mindset. So just sort of a word, in your direction on that one. Yes, it's all very well to know that, but much more difficult to practice it in reality. So this is a cycle of having to work harder in close one-to-ones relationships, seeing others as narrow-minded. That is one of the ways it can work. Another way it can work is that you feel a lack. Even if you're in a relationship, you feel a lack of real close companionship or understanding, and you're expecting them to know. Well, maybe they don't know, and maybe they never could. And maybe, in times gone by, you had your rose-tinted specs on and you didn't notice that they didn't know, and they don't do sensitive, or whatever it is, okay? So you need to come to a different relationship with yourself. You need to say, okay, that's what there is. That's the reality. Saturn is all about reality. Wake up and smell the coffee. Newsflash. This is the real world. And you need to come to a different relationship with yourself. Yes, you can be shaped and chipped away by the opinions and the behavior of others, but why do you have to depend on them for your self-esteem? Why do you have to depend on them for acknowledgement, recognition, approval? So really, this is a time when those sorts of questions should be coming to you, and you need to see whether it's worth the wait and the trouble to keep in it, whilst you are actually working more on yourself and being more self-sufficient within the relationship, not being walked all over. No, that doesn't come with this particular protocol here, or with any, really. And finding a way to come into a more loving, more respectful, honoring relationship with yourself. And once you've achieved that, then all of the other things just start to fall into place. So it can be like that. It can be that you feel a scarcity, a lack, that there is nobody special. Well, then there's you're special. Once again, ditto. Come into that more fulsome, wholesome, loving relationship with yourself. And so instead of feeling lonely, crushed, misunderstood, swept under the carpet, pushed into the corner, sitting on the naughty spot in a current close relationship, whether that's working one or a personal one, just say no. I am in a relationship with myself. It's Saturn's job to stress test us. And if we are, a little bit getting chipped off us, then that's the bit we need to grow more strongly. And that's where, maybe it's the beautiful diplomatic velvet glove with the steel inside. And that's not being cold, that's just being stronger in yourself. So, and look back 29, 30 years, because the last time this was in here was in 1985 to 88, if you're old enough. And you Geminians born up to the first week or up to the middle, sorry, of the first week, or with up to 13 degrees rising, are going to feel this energy the most. Yes, if you look back all that time, you can see how you reacted then and what came of it. Quite interesting, that. And then, of course, Saturn returns to Scorpio between 14th, 15th of June to the 17th, 18th of September. And then it's more of the same of this, you know, what might call the sort of the knotty details of everyday life. You having to keep with the schedule, you having to be more aware of timing, of commitments, of tasks, and slow progress there. And this is the stitch in time saves 9. So keeping out ahead of things, learning the skills. If you've got a lack there, a gap in your knowledge, learn the skill to do it, or find a man or a woman who can, you know. And generally it means harder work, a more service orientated attitude to others. I'm helping them out, I'm assisting them. And that's been going on actually with Neptune at the top of your chart as well. In Neptune's new manifestation, you have to take more of the attitude of the servant. Now, there's a lot of very, very rich and successful people who also have this transit through the top of their chart. So it doesn't necessarily equate servant with poverty. But, you know, you being there less for ego reasons and less for self-gratifications in your profession and across the wider stage, but more for what good you can do and what service you can perform. When you take that attitude, Neptune there is going to work really well for you and bring you all sorts of gifts. So, and I've spoken about this before, but Neptune transiting through the top of your chart there does connect you more with healing, spirituality, art, charities, and anything which serves the common good, hospitality industry, catering and that kind of thing, photography in particular, film, you know, media, anything which serves the common good though through those areas and through many, many others. So you've had Saturn and Neptune, both of them talking about your work and you being more of service in your work. Now, also, the Saturn energy has had you taking your own health and serving yourself, taking your own health more seriously and how you can serve yourself. So taking yourself off to somewhere where you can construct a new, well, health regime, or get the healing that you need, get the help that you need in a consistent, scheduled kind of a way, or it might be for somebody else. Geminians born from the 17th of June onwards, or with from 27 degrees rising, going to feel this energy, this vibration the most over 2015. Yeah. The very, very late Geminians, you're going to be feeling that energy the most over 2015. So, yeah, and if you need any health care, you know, or anything, you need to be, the stitch in time saving 9, you need to be looking into that now. And that might be for somebody else as well. So now the life-changing force of Pluto in Capricorn is regenerating you from deep levels in your feelings over these last many years. And it's going to be there for many years to come. There's going to be a letting go, either forced or voluntary, of old scenarios, old relationships, old setups, and a sort of rebirthing going on there. An old order crumbling, and this can be related to property as well, literally crumbling. Pluto rules rot. I mean, it literally does rule that, and but it also rules rebirth from the ashes of the old way. So very much renovating. If it's to do with property, it's about renovation. If it's to do with a relationship, it's about reinvigorating the relationship, or indeed rebirthing through a new relationship. It's very much to do with deep heart connections, but also on the more mundane, materialistic level, property and finances, and as I say, you know, rising phoenix-like from the ashes of the old way. And those of you Geminians born from the beginning of June to the 7th of June, with 12 to 16 degrees rising, are going to be feeling that one the most. There's more about all of this written up on my website, but that's it for the whole of 2015, the overview, and I wish you all the very best in 2015. We are definitely on an upward trend in 2015, and do have a look about look at my other video where I'm speaking about that. And I'll see you the next time.